Welcome to this webinar. It is titled Getting Intimate. Getting Intimate. And what we're doing is basically talking about building intimacy in your marriage. Getting intimate simply means into my mate. All right? Because that's what intimacy really is. It's about getting into your partner to the point where you guys actually become like one. That is the whole concept of marriage. The Bible says that, said, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife and all that. It said the two shall become one. It said the two shall become one. What was God trying to say? He was trying to say, look, these two people, two separate individuals, they will become one. They will become one. They will get so synchronized. They will get so, in tune with each other, that the two of them will become one. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? It said two people will actually become one. They will get so synchronized, so in tune with each other, so in love with each other, that the two of them will actually become one. And the truth is that I don't think we've really understood or maximized how powerful marriage is. I still don't think we have hit it, and it's part of our passion in Love It Now Marriage Ministries to keep pressing and to keep teaching and to keep inspiring people so that we can maximize this gift called marriage that God gave us. So God said He wants two to become one. Two to become one. There is actually a possibility, a reality where two people can be so connected that they are like one. And God knows that that is the most powerful thing that can ever happen. Even though you can get the level of closeness or connection to your friends, to your parents, to your siblings, but I believe that the one of marriage is like the highest of it all. That's what I believe. I believe the one of marriage is like the highest of it all. Family is so important because everything God planned, He planned around family. That's what it's family that God actually instituted. God didn't, institute governments or schools or even church. That was not His first approach. His first approach was families. The church basically is like a backup plan. When the families were like failing, when the first family, failed in their assignment, and dysfunction started, murder, killings and lying and all that, church came as a backup plan. And you see the interesting thing again about church, God also set it up as a family. All right? So you will see God is interested in family. When the natural biological family failed, God still set up another institution, but it's a spiritual family. A spiritual family. So in a church is supposed to be like a family, a backup family, so that in case you're not getting all the benefits and blessings you're supposed to get from a natural family, you can at least get it from a spiritual family. So you still have a father in the Lord, you have a mother in the Lord, you have siblings, all right? You have brothers and sisters. So if you notice, that's why they say if a brother, if a sister, that's how they say it in the Bible, because it's a family. You see, you might not notice that's what they're saying. When they say, oh, if your brother does this, if your brother does this, what they're trying to say is that the church, that spiritual church, that church is actually like a family. It's a spiritual family, So it's the same thing. Everything God is doing is talking about family. In fact, when Jesus came, He told the disciples that from now, this is how to pray. You will pray and say, our Father. Family. That's what He's trying to say. He said, from now on, you no longer talk to God like He's just your God. You say, our Father, meaning family. So I still believe that we have not maximized, we have not fully understood, nor fully maximized what marriage is supposed to be and to do. And I believe that this webinar will help us, will move us closer, to maximizing it. There's so much mystery and so much blessing in that union called marriage. But you see, without intimacy, we can't realize that, because the concept is that two shall become one. In many marriages, you see, there are a lot of things people have that is not really marriage. It's not really marriage. It's just a union of two people. So what people have is not marriage, because the whole idea of marriage is that the two are supposed to become one. That's the idea. Once it's not fulfilling the idea, then it's not really being the right thing or the image that God had in mind. And what happens to a lot of people is that because they are not doing it right, they are not getting it right, they will just think, oh, marriage is overrated, marriage is not all that. It's because they're not doing it right. If you do it right, marriage is one of the best things that can happen to you ever in your life. It's one of the best gifts God gave us as human beings. It's the gift of marriage. Trust me. And to take us time to understand it, to take us time to maximize it, and we just have to commit to it. So, we're talking about intimacy. Intimacy is like two people becoming one, becoming so synced together. It's like two people doing a very complicated dance. If you have watched all those Dancing with the Stars or things like that, imagine those very complex dance steps. Imagine it, two people doing it. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of commitment to perfect that dance. It takes a lot of, movement, a lot of, I'll talk about this later. So that's what intimacy is like. It's like two people, learning about each other, learning that intimacy and being able to flow at a certain level that will bring a rhythm, that will bring, something very beautiful to watch. And that is my prayer for everybody here on this webinar today, that your marriage will be that sweet. Your marriage will be that sweet. The truth is that when there's real intimacy, there's nothing your marriage cannot survive. When there's real intimacy, there's nothing that the devil throws at your marriage or that comes against your marriage that is enough to drown it. When there's real intimacy. When the intimacy is tight, your marriage can survive infertility, infidelity, in-laws, insufficient funds, any kind of problems that is thrown at your marriage. Sickness of one of the partners, whatever it is. Once there's solid intimacy, your marriage can survive it. You see, it's not really what your marriage faces that makes it fail. It is what it is made of that makes it fail. All right? It's not really what your marriage faces that makes it fail. It is what it is made of. It is what it is made of. All right? It's not what your marriage faces, but what it is made of. So the truth is that marriages face different challenges. Marriages face different challenges. That is not unusual. However, it is what is made of that determines whether it can survive or not. It is what is made of that determines whether it can survive or not. All right? So, and intimacy is that measurement of how solid your marriage is. It is intimacy. So what is intimacy? What is intimacy? What is intimacy? In simple terms, intimacy is just that deep connection and closeness that two people can share. Two people sharing a deep connection and a closeness. So you are connected at all levels, all right? You are connected emotionally, you are connected physically, you are connected mentally, and you're connected spiritually. It is enjoying deep connection and a closeness, all right? That deep, closeness. That's what intimacy means. It is into my mate. So two people like this, and you get into each other. Get into each other like this. It's the most beautiful thing ever. It's the most beautiful thing ever when two people come together. There's nothing like it, at least it's on this earth. It's like, see, what happens is like the two individuals, when they come together as one, a new being has been created. A hybrid, as some people will say, has been created. A being that has never existed before. Two people have become one. It's amazing. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. If I'll use my wife's name and my name, if Kingsley and Mildred come together, individually, we might be two great people. But when we come together and achieve real intimacy, we are greater people. Kingsley no longer exists. Mildred no longer exists. It's now King Mill or Milk King. Milk. Yes, that's true. If it's Milk King, yes. So something like that. The point is that a new being is formed. A new being is formed once we achieve intimacy. There's nothing like it ever on the earth, that you connect emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually with someone. All right? Very important. So you need to pursue intimacy in your marriage. You need to pursue intimacy in your marriage. You see, when a couple, this is what happens to many people. Usually we all have a desire for intimacy. We were created with that desire to connect deeply with another human being. We were created with that desire, and it's always there. So when people get married, in fact, most people before they get married, they are dreaming of that, they are hoping for that. When they get married and that doesn't happen, is some of them at that point the marriage starts to go down. I'll talk a bit about this again the next thing I'm going to talk about. The marriage starts to go down. Some other ones, the marriage might not go down, but it doesn't increase in intimacy. So it's just on survival mode. So they are just carrying on their routine. They're just carrying on their routine. They're just co-parenting. They are not improving or increasing intimacy. They are just, okay, we're married. You see, and that's not God's plan either. The third level is where the marriage is always growing in intimacy. And that's where everybody must be. Where the intimacy in your marriage keeps growing and growing and getting better. And that's where you must be. And there are very few people that are enjoying that. And I pray that you'll be amongst them. All right, let's move a bit further. There are things also that can hinder your intimacy. So as we're going on talking about how to build intimacy, I'll be throwing in those things that can be like a wall, against your intimacy. Things that can stand out against it, okay? So we'll be doing them side by side as we go. So today I'm going to teach from the acronym INTIMATE, because we're talking about getting intimate. So I'm going to teach from the acronym INTIMATE. So first thing is letter I. The first thing about building intimacy is letter I, which talks about being intentional. Being intentional. Being intentional. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. I tried to actually go through all the points to see the one I liked the most, and it was hard because I literally liked all the points, and they're all almost equally important as far as I'm concerned, because I wanted to find out which one I would say is the most important, but it was hard. This first one is very interesting. Being intentional. If you are going to build intimacy, you must be intentional. I know this looks simple, but trust me, it's not simple. There are too many people hoping to build intimacy and are not doing anything about it. As in, there's no conscious effort to build this intimacy. No conscious effort. I hope you it's couples that are watching this today. I hope you are here with your spouse, or at least your spouse is watching, because this kind of thing is not it's not up to only one person to build intimacy. So it's good for you to learn, but it's better for it to be coupled so that both of you can hear the same things. Okay, let's move on. So intentionality. It looks so simple, but it's a big deal. Many people are not intentional about building intimacy. So let me give you an example. What happens, I've been talking about one of my books that should come out this year, hopefully. It's titled, You Don't Need a New Spouse. All right? I'm writing that book because every now and then, in fact, most of the time, I run into couples that feel they've married the wrong person. If I want to guess right, I'm sure some people watching me too feel like that. You've gotten to a stage where you just feel, did I even marry right? Trust me, you're not alone. It's a constant thing I face as a counselor. Many people have that in their mind. In fact, they just believe I've married the wrong person. I hear that. I told somebody that if I get $1 every time I hear that, I'll probably be a millionaire in dollars by now. I hear that almost every day. That I've married the wrong person. I've married the wrong person. So I titled the book, You Don't Need a New Spouse. I wanted to title it before to be I married the wrong person, but I just felt that would be too negative. So you don't need a new spouse. What happens to many people is this. They start their relationship from an emotional point of view, which is normal, emotional love. And I've shared this many times. So we are both excited about each other. We like each other. We are seeing only the good things. From anywhere between 6 months and 2 years, or from when you transition between being single and eventually getting married, somewhere along the line, the dynamics of the relationship changes. You see, every organism or any being goes through phases of change. And if you don't know those phases, you'll be worried and troubled. But it's actually normal. It's like a child. When a child grows, the first teeth is growing with, it's not permanent. It's called milk teeth. After a while, he will lose those teeth and grow another set of teeth. So if the teeth is falling out and it's panicking, he'll be worried. But it's normal. So the same way with your relationship or your marriage, it goes through phases. If you don't know the phases, you just think you married the wrong person, which is not true. So what happens to many people is that they go from the emotional phase where we just love each other, we love everything about each other, we're on an emotional high. When they get married, somewhere along the line, within 6 months, 1 year, 2 years of that marriage, they will start having a lot of differences. What is going on there is that the emotions have waned a bit, which is normal. Nobody can be on an emotional high all through. It's abnormal to do that. You just lose concentration all through your life. You'll be on a high. Nobody does that. In reality, sometimes reality sets in. So what you're supposed to do is to move from emotional love to intentional love. But many people, they want to remain on emotional love. And the emotions have waned now. Reality has set in. You are now seeing more differences that you guys have. You are seeing more things you don't agree about. You are seeing a lot of things you don't like about this person. Like I said, and it's normal. What you were supposed to do is to move from emotional love to intentional love. That means being more intentional about loving your partner. Before, you were depending on emotional love. So many couples at that point, they begin to say, I think I married the wrong person. She doesn't listen. He doesn't listen. He doesn't do anything I like. She doesn't do anything I like. And I've heard all kinds of stories, But I'm never surprised, because it's actually normal. Actually very normal. What they should have done is to move from emotional love to intentional love. What happened to them is that the passion faded a bit. And what they don't realize is that it's normal. Let me paint it in a graphic way. Fire. Let's use fire. Fire is powerful. I hope we all know that. If you've ever seen real fire before, real one, it's powerful. And that's why I don't know why anybody want to go to hell. If you have seen fire, fire is powerful. One of the most powerful things on this earth. Powerful. How does fire start? Usually, in the olden days, they told us that fire starts when you can start fire those days by striking two stones. So, two people meet. They strike each other together, and a passion and a fire is ignited. Now, that fire begins to burn, and they say, we want to marry. In fact, if you tell them that time, no, don't marry now, they will fight you. I want to marry this week. Okay. Now, when they marry, what they fail to realize is that as powerful as fire is, if fire doesn't have anything to burn, it will fade. Have you ever thought about that? As powerful as fire is, if there's nothing to burn, that big fire by itself, without water, it will just finish. Fire only thrives when it's burning something. As the biggest fire you want to think about, it must burn something. If there's nothing for it to burn, no matter how powerful that fire was, it fades. So many people, when they meet and they strike each other, boom, fire takes off. They enter relaxation mode that this fire is here forever. They get married, reality sets in, they forget to keep putting wood in the fire, and the fire dies. And when the fire dies, they now say, oh, no more passion, no more fire. It means I married the wrong person, or it means I don't love you anymore. No, fire does not sustain itself. You need to put wood in the fire for it to burn. Fire needs something to burn. If there's nothing for fire to burn, it goes off. That's what happens. Fire always needs something to burn. This is why I'm saying you must be intentional. That's the first step to build intimacy, is that you must be intentional. Somebody asked me some time ago, he said, can real love die? Powerful question. He said, can true love, if something is true love, can it die? I answered with a question. I said, if something is a true or real Mercedes-Benz, if it's real Mercedes-Benz, can it break down? That would I ask the person. That if it's an original car from Mercedes-Benz with all the logos in the right place, can it ever break down? The answer is yes. Because the only way it won't break down is that it must be maintained and serviced. So that is true love doesn't mean it's going to remain, on fire. It must be serviced and maintained. That's why I'm saying I wish you are watching this as a couple. From my experiences, men, and from statistics too, men are kind of not too interested in marriage issues. We by our nature and by what we have been told and taught, we are generally more interested in career, money. We don't realize that having a good marriage is one of the best financial decisions you can make. So I'm looking for how to talk to men more and more. Men need to realize that doing marriage right is one of the best financial decisions you can take. All right. So so I feel you as a man, but you need to understand that you need to be a bit more intentional, more interested in things that pertain to love and marriage. Most men don't want to hear about that. They don't feel they need a marriage seminar. In fact, most men in their mind think, oh, my marriage is great. One of these days we'll do an evaluation for your marriage. We were supposed to do it today, but we couldn't get the forms ready. We'll do an evaluation for your marriage so that you know that your marriage is great. Most men think, we're happy in our marriage. No, ask your wife. If she's with you, ask her. But a lot of people are not happy. The men think, oh, we're fine. No, we are not. Because for a woman really craves intimacy. A woman does crave intimacy. And for a man, as long as we are not arguing, we're not beating ourselves, we're okay. But it doesn't work like that. Intimacy has to continue to grow. It has to continue to grow. Okay, so intentionality. Intentionality. Good couples are compatible by chance, but great couples are compatible by choice. All right, I'll say that again. Good couples, a friend of mine said this, I liked it. Good couples are compatible by chance, but great couples are compatible by choice. You know, which means that, you know, you have to actually be intentional about, you know, growing that intimacy in your marriage. So that's the first step, intentionality. How intentional are you? You know, how intentional are you about building intimacy? Are you consciously working on it? Are you consciously working on it? Are you building intimacy? There are about four levels of intimacy. There is the emotional intimacy. There is the physical intimacy. That includes sex, touch, things like that. There is mental intimacy. That means we're both connected in decision making and in our thought patterns. Then there's spiritual intimacy. All right? We pray together. We're connected also spiritually. All right? As human beings, we were created to connect in these areas. We were created to connect in these areas. The one most people know is the physical intimacy. And what they don't realize is that the emotional intimacy, the mental intimacy is what feeds the physical intimacy. Single people think sex feeds intimacy. They don't know that it's intimacy that feeds sex. At the beginning, and this is why in some marriages, the sex just fades, you know, after a while. The sex just fades after a while because they think that sex sustains intimacy. They don't know that it's real intimacy that sustains sex. Let me tell you something. Like I said, we're supposed to do an evaluation for marriages today, but we couldn't get it done. But interestingly, your sex life is supposed to even be getting better if the intimacy is right. But for many people, it gets worse because they are not building emotional intimacy. They are not building mental intimacy. They just expect physical intimacy to continue to last, and it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, all right? You need to consciously build, you know, the mental and emotional and spiritual intimacy that goes ahead to affect the physical intimacy. All right, so number one is intentional. So how intentional are you about building intimacy? Can you rate your partner? If your partner is there, do a quick rating and say, you know, how intentional are we? You know, or tell your partner how intentional you feel they are. Maybe do 0 to 10, 10 being the highest. All right. How intentional are you both as regards building intimacy? Do you even know it's a thing to build? Many people just know that. While I'm talking, be talking to yourselves if you can, or, you know, rate your own intimacy. You know, many people they're just co-parenting. They're just, you know, they're just going about marriage as if, okay, we are married now, let's just get to work. No. You are not maximizing life when you are not building intimacy. Let me tell you something that happens. On this job, we have found out that there are certain stages marriages face challenges, and usually it's a pointer to the fact that intimacy was not built. Like I said, there's the early stage where the couple just crossing the emotional love to intentional love thing, and they are not adapting well to it. At that point, this happens somewhere around 2 years to 5 years in most marriages. This happens usually when the first child has come. A lot of marriages at that phase start going down because if there was no intimacy and they go through the challenges of that season, because that season, number one, tells on their physical intimacy. A woman has just given birth. So she might not be as sexually active. Some women don't even want to have sex at all, after they give birth. They're not even thinking about it at all, and all that. There are all kinds of things that are going on. So if you guys didn't have a good bond emotionally and mentally and spiritually, if all that the marriage was dependent was physical, and the physical is affected, maybe she just gave birth, doctor said she can't have sex immediately, or she's not even in the mood, or whatever, or the man, there are times that it's even the man that is saying, it doesn't just feel the same, I don't just see the same. Some men face that. Even from when the wife is pregnant, they can't even touch her, they say, I'm harming the baby. That strain comes that same time. Usually in some families, there's also a financial strain at that same time, because now they have new bills. Maternity, hospital, the child needs a room, the child needs baby cot. If you're giving birth in an expensive place, the bills are there, financial strain. Then there's also time strain. So now there's somebody taking the bulk of your time. You see, before the child, you guys were just spending time with each other. But now there's one loud guy or one loud baby there, girl, crying every minute. And everybody's paying that attention to the baby because it's a new baby. So you guys are not having time to pay attention to each other. Now it looks simple, trust me, but things crack. A lot of marriages, things crack and they're never the same again after that time. It is the intimacy you have built before that day that sustains you through this period, because it's a very dicey period for most couples. Some couples, that's the period the relationship starts going down, and some never recover. After that season, it keeps going down. They now enter a new reality. Just like we are saying in COVID now, the new normal. Some marriages enter a new normal from there, where we don't talk, we don't have time. The woman is just facing the kids, the man is facing his career. They start drifting apart, and they drift apart forever and ever and ever like that. They never recover from it. It's the intimacy you have before that time that helps you survive that period. Many couples don't survive because of the strain that comes on time, money, and energy and all that. All right, so that's one phase that is threatening to couples. On that phase again that couples go through many challenges is when maybe the man is hitting 40, the woman is hitting menopause, things like that. It's on that challenging phase. On that challenging phase again for couples is when all the children are gone. Some couples at that time, they want to break up because this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been doing here. They suddenly find out that I'm not connected to this man, I'm not connected to this woman. They suddenly find out they have been staying for the kids. So the moment the last child, either goes to university or is done or is married, they find out I don't want to live with this man. It's just like this whole COVID-19 lockdown. A lot of couples have discovered I married the wrong person. In China and some places like that where the lockdown has been lifted, they said divorce rates went up. It went up because many people that were locked together in the house with their spouse discovered I can't do this. You see, the intimacy before matters a great deal. So how intentional? You must be intentional. Don't just be happy with your marriage the way it is. Don't just say we are doing fine. No, you need to ask each other, is this really the best? Check if what's the level of intimacy that we have. Are we growing in intimacy? Are we getting better? Are we more more dependent on each other? Because what happens in marriage, you're supposed to move from singlehood of being independent to being interdependent. So are you more and more dependent on each other? Are you more and more in sync with each other? Because that's where the real benefits of the marriage will come. I told some people last week or so, and I've said it many times, that there's nothing I and my wife have agreed about that we have not gotten. There's nothing. Once we agree about it. And that's the power of marriage. Say if two of you shall agree as touching anything on the earth shall be done. It's one of the blessings there. He said two are better than one. When you guys achieve the level of intimacy you should achieve, it's going to affect every area of your life. Trust me, like I tell men all the time, loving your wife is one of the best financial decisions you can ever make. God said so. He said, if you treat your wife well, your prayers will not be hindered. It's there. So if you can understand it, and be intentional. All this point here, I'm just trying to say you have to be intentional. Don't be satisfied with just the normal. Don't be satisfied with the average. Don't be satisfied with what other people are doing. You need to keep pressing for more and more intimacy. You will get to the stage where your marriage can survive anything. I see people that, we have delay in childbirth and want to break the marriage. We have this misunderstanding, want to break the marriage. It's usually because the intimacy level is not as tight as it should be. Even if you guys are going through a financial crisis, trust me, if intimacy is tight, you guys will navigate it and come out of it better. When the intimacy is there, whatever is thrown at you, you will use it as a stepping stone to come out with something better. So it's not what your marriage faces that is important. It's what your marriage is made of. All right, that matters. So number one is be intentional. I is for intentional. Number two, N. That's the next thing there. N is needs. Okay, there's a question there. On a scale of 1 to 10, how intentional is your relationship or marriage? How intentional you guys are about intimacy? Most couples don't even think about it. They just think, oh, are we supposed to be building it? Yes, you're supposed to be building it. It must be intentional. You must be intentional about building that level of intimacy. All right. Now let's move to the next step. N. N in the acronym intimacy stands for the needs. In other words, to build intimacy is really about meeting each other's needs. It's that simple, because some people think it's complicated. No, it's not. Building intimacy is simply about meeting each other's needs. Meeting each other's needs. So if you're going to build intimacy, you have to first ask yourself, what are the needs of my partner? And this is where the work will start. What are the needs of my partner? Your own needs usually will be different from your partner's needs. So what happens to many people is that they focus on just their needs and assume that must be everybody's needs. So they say, me, I don't need to hear I love you. So because of that, I don't need to say to my partner, I love you. Our needs are different. You must learn this. Your needs and your husband's needs, your needs and your wife's needs are different. So you can't be meeting your partner's needs assuming they're the same as yours. You need to know specifically what their needs are. All right? Based on your gender and based on your personality type, that's how you know what your partner's needs are. You have to ask them, you have to observe them, you have to know them, that they have specific needs. Okay? Most guys don't need to hear I love you, but most women do. You have to now know now I know that there are some people that are different, but you have to know what your spouse needs. Does your spouse need to hear I love you constantly? Are words big for them? If words are big for them, then you have to go out of your way, whether you feel like or not, to meet that need. If your partner likes for you to pray with them, they have that spiritual need. They have that need to connect with you spiritually. They want you to pray with them. They want you to go to church with them. They want you to attend certain seminars with them, whatever. What are their needs? You can't build intimacy without knowing the needs of your partner. There's no way you can build intimacy. It's not something you do by chance. You start by knowing what exactly their needs are. What happens in marriages most times, people are putting effort where it does not matter. They say, I'm working hard. See, it doesn't matter what the effort you're putting in. What matters is how satisfied the other person is. My wife usually says something. How do you know you're respecting a man? Is when he feels respected, not when you think you are respecting him. Is when he feels respected. He is the one that will tell us whether he's respected. Same thing with a woman. How does a woman know she's being loved? Is when she feels loved. It doesn't matter what you do. So I go to work, I pay the rent. No, it doesn't matter. What will make her feel loved? If your partner needs to constantly tell you, they keep reminding you of their needs, and you never do them, that is a bad sign. You're not being intentional. Ideally, they shouldn't have to tell you about their needs over and over and over and over again. Once is enough. In fact, if you are great at this game, they shouldn't even need to tell you. You should be observant enough. What happens to many people is that they are selfish when they enter marriage. They are so obsessed with their own needs and what they want and what they need. So they never think beyond their needs. They never think beyond their needs. So the thing, I don't need to call. I don't need to talk every day. But does your partner need to talk every day? You see. So I don't need to call every day. Great. Now, does your partner need to call every day? If your partner needs to hear from you every day, then you adjust. You need to know what their needs are. Does your partner need space? Sometimes they don't want to talk. Then you to adjust to their needs. The point is that you must know what the needs are and respond to. All of us as human beings, do you know that you get emotionally excited at anybody that solves a major problem for you or that meets a major need in your life? You get excited about it. Check your emotion when somebody that always takes from you calls you on the phone. Check your energy level. Compare it to when somebody that always gives you jobs or gives you contracts or gives you money also calls you on the phone. Check your emotions both times. That's how intimacy is built. When it's somebody that's always calling you, you when you see the call, you say, oh, you avoid the call. In fact, when you're even picking it, you are giving energy. Hello? What? But now check your reaction when it's somebody that either gives you jobs, gives you contracts, or gives you money, or gives you gist, or gives you something you like. When you see the call, you're already smiling before you pick it. And you're saying, I hear you, how far? You are happy. That's how intimacy is built, by meeting it. We are all responsive to people that meet a need in our lives. We are all responsive. Now, even God, most people don't know, even God reacts differently to people that are very into him. And that's what intimacy is, into your mate. People that are givers. Go and check scripture. God always was willing to go the extra mile for people that are givers. I can give you many examples, but this is not a Bible class. I would have given you many examples. There's a guy called the centurion. They said it was a guy of prayer and a guy that was a giver. They sent an apostle to preach to his household personally. They didn't wait till he would come to church. They said, this guy cannot go to hell. Attend to him. There's a time Jesus had a busy schedule. He was going somewhere to pray for somebody, and they stopped him and said, there's somebody you must pray for. They said, this guy is one of the guys that has built many synagogues, for the house of God. Jesus said, let's go. I will attend to the guy. Jesus suspended his schedule, attended to the guy. Everybody responds to a giver. As busy as the president of the country is, people that sponsor him, when they want to see him, they can see him. They have his number. Check it. You give your contact to people that give you. You are interested in giving your contact, collecting their contact. There are people you hide your number from. They say, I want to call you. Say, send me an email. Call my PA's secretary. We're all responsive to people that meet our needs. If you say your husband or your wife is tough and all that, you know what you should do? Start meeting their needs. Everybody has a streak of selfishness in them. Once you try to meet their need, they open up more to you. So if you have someone you are married to right now and the person is stressing you, the person is troublesome, not yielding, you are even almost tired of the marriage if you're not tired already, let me tell you something you can try. Stop focusing on yourself and your own happiness for a while. Try to meet their need. There are two ways you can motivate people, either by pleasure or by pain. If you have tried pain and it's not working, try pleasure. Because some people don't react, they don't run from pain, but they respond to pleasure. So, know how to motivate them. All right? Meeting their needs. All right? You should know what the needs of your spouse is. You should know what their needs are. What are your husband's needs? What are your wife's needs? I don't know if we can do on that rating. We'll do a rating on how well does your partner meet your needs. If your partner is there, to be better. If they're not there, you can just go ahead and feel for yourself. How well does your partner know and meet your needs? And what are those needs? Emotional needs, mental needs, sexual needs. It's about needs. Spiritual needs. It's about needs. How well are you meeting your partner's needs? All right? How well are you meeting your partner's needs? You can't build intimacy without meeting your partner's needs. All right? Very important. We're all open and responsive to people that meet our needs. Focus on meeting their need. Number 3, T. The first T there stands for trust. T there stands for trust. T in intimate stands for trust. So, if you are going to build intimacy, then there has to be trust. You see, these are some of the things that is standing like a wall, hindering people from intimacy. You can't go ahead and talk about intimacy when there is no trust. All right? You have to build trust. You can't move ahead and talk about intimacy when there's no trust. If trust has been broken, because there are many people that in their marriages, trust, okay, this is the, how well does your partner meet your need, okay? You can do that. Quickly fill out. It's just 1 second now. You should know. And be honest, it doesn't matter. It's just between you and your husband, or you and you if your husband or wife is not there. How well do they meet my needs? I wish I could feel this thing. My wife knows what her own score will be. She okay. So there are some couples that, trust has been broken and they want to move on to intimacy without rebuilding trust. They want to move on to intimacy. I see that a lot. Some people want to move on to intimacy without building, trust. You cannot have genuine intimacy because intimacy involves a level of openness and connection that you can't achieve without building trust. All right? Without building trust. So you have to build trust. And the interesting thing about trust is that trust cannot be requested. You can't tell somebody, trust me. That's what people try to do. So just trust me now. No. Trust is not something you request. It's something you actually earn. It's something you live, you show. You don't just say, trust me. It doesn't work like that. Okay? It doesn't work like that. Okay, so you have to build trust. If there's no trust, we can't be interdependent. We can't depend on ourselves. We can't be connected. It takes a lot of trust for intimacy to be built. It takes a lot of trust. I have to totally be able to trust you in every area for intimacy to be built. How do I build trust? Very simple. There are two major ways, okay? For the purpose of this teaching, there are two major ways. Number one is transparency. And number two is integrity, all right? Number one is transparency. And number two is integrity. If there is no transparency, that means there's no openness, then we cannot build trust. It takes, for trust to be built, I must be able to totally see inside you. I must be comfortable with what I see. There must be openness. The Bible said they were both naked and they were not ashamed. I can't build trust if there's a lot of covering, a lot of hiding going on. Then I can't build trust. So if you are still passwording phone, that your spouse can't see it. You're passwording phone that your spouse doesn't have the password. Passwording emails, whatever. Your spouse can't see your emails, can't see your phones, can't see your accounts, things like that. Then you're not going to build intimacy. Like I said, there are many couples just living together. What they have is not really intimacy. What they have is not really the idea of marriage. They're just two people cohabitating, something like that. So it's not really like marriage. It's not really the idea. Because if you're hiding all those things, then you have missed the whole point. Because this person is supposed to be the person you can trust with all of your life. It's supposed to be total transparency. So you need to be able to build trust. And it's built by, number one, transparency. And number two, integrity. Number one, transparency. Number two, integrity. So transparency, I've talked about that is being open. Open and honest communication. If you go somewhere, you're able to say, this is where I am. And it's something we can clearly, confirm. You don't have shady moves, shady places you are going to that we can't tell, we don't know. You can't build real intimacy if you're hiding things. And some people are so used to that level of life that they hide everything. Then you can't build intimacy. Those are walls. Those are walls that will hinder intimacy from being built. There must be open and honest communication. So transparency. Why would you want to hide your phone? Why would you want to hide? Why? What possibly are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? What are you doing? That in itself does not help trust. Then second one is integrity, like I said. You keeping your promises, keeping your words. Integrity. That's how trust is built. Trust is not built because you tell me to trust you. It doesn't work like that. Your words must be consistent. In other words, if you're saying, I'm coming back today, I'm coming back at this time, this is what happened, then let it be so. The moment you say things that didn't happen, or you say things and don't keep your word, you can't build trust. Trust is not something you ask me to just have. Say, trust me. No, you show me, all right, that I can trust you. Okay, you must build trust. You must build trust. Begin to practice more and more openness with each other. It's very important. It's very important. Practice openness. Practice openness. For those of you that have been following our teachings, I and my wife, our phones are cloned together. She can see all my chats, see all my, she can even receive my calls where she is. She can get the full recorded call on her phone. Because there's nothing going on. There's nothing to hide. It's important you do that. It's important you do that. Create an atmosphere where everybody is relaxed and there's trust. You see, when it comes to integrity, it's not about just looking like it. You must show it. It must be clear. So you're hiding money, you're hiding accounts. You're not going to build real intimacy that way. Okay? You can survive. Like I said, there's a survival stage of marriage where you're just getting along, but the passion is not there. That's not really what we want. So let's move quickly. Third one is I, intimate. So there's there's next point. This is another very important one. All of them are so important. Another important one, I there is for interests. Interests. Very important. Interests. I for interests. So this second I, interest, is talking about you are knowledgeable about the interests of your spouse, the things they're interested in. It can be anything. It can be serious things or just fun things, but whatever they are interested in, be interested. Whatever they are interested in, you should be interested. Many couples are not interested in what their spouses are interested in. See, what happens is this. Intimacy is like you're on a boat on water. If you don't row intentionally to where you want to go, you will drift apart. That's what happens to many people. They are in the ocean together, but they are not rowing intentionally towards each other. They are just rowing on their own. So they are drifting apart, or they're never rowing at all. So you must be interested in what your partner is interested in. If they are interested in movies, then you have to be interested in it. You can't just say, I'm not interested in that. I think a lot of people go into marriage thinking I'm going to be the same old person I used to be. No. When you go into marriage, you are going to evolve, you are going to change, you're going to leave your comfort zone, you're going to learn new things that you never learned before, you're going to do new things that you've never done before. What happens to people is that they want to remain the same. They want to get married and remain the same. So they wonder why we're not getting intimate, because you are with somebody now. You have to adjust. That's the only way both of you can fit into each other's life. It will take adjustment. You can't remain the same way you are. You can't say this is just how I am. No, there's no such thing again like that in marriage. When you marry, you have to be interested in their interest. You have to be genuinely interested in their interest. So if your wife likes to watch certain series, you have to watch with her. That's how to do it. Be interested. You might not ordinarily like it, but now you start becoming interested in it. And it happens both ways. So if you're the man, start being interested in things your wife is interested in. Start showing interest. Ask questions. Whether or not she wants you to be interested, be interested. Because that's how you build intimacy. Say, what's that thing? Oh, what's going on? Why are we doing this? Oh, why are you following this page? Okay, explain. Who is this person? You're watching a series. Give me the gist. Who is this? Who is this? Watch with her and gist with her. That's how to build interest. Same thing as you as a lady. Be interested in the guy. Now, I used to have my wife that those early years, she used to deceive me. It's a joke, but she didn't used to deceive me. But she is a great wife, actually. Because our early years of marriage, I ride motorbikes. I ride power bikes. My wife will follow me to ride power bikes. Sometimes at night. Those of you that know about Lagos, because there's no traffic in the day. This weekday, not weekends. Weekday. I can be crazy like that. So weekday, I used to live on the mainland then, somewhere called First Tax, some of you might know it. And we'll enter power bike, these big bikes, helmet, everything at night, like around 8 o'clock that time, and we'll hit the island. We'll ride the motorbike to the island that night. And we'll hang on the island till night, go somewhere, buy food and stuff like that, and ride back. She used to follow me that time. Faithful. When we travel abroad, she followed me for many biking tours. There was one time we went to a place called Hafit Mountain, man. That place is scary. It's a mountain that the road is spiral. Like you'll be seeing yourself like you're falling. And we did motorbike with a lot of bikers. And she followed me. This girl tried. She has tried. She has tried. Now she doesn't do all those things again. Because she followed me to all those bad places. We did crazy things because she had to be interested in what I was interested in. She has gone with me to watch matches. I'm a football person, Man City, United. She has followed me to the stadium many times to watch football. So that's how you do it. You are interested. That's how intimacy is built. It doesn't just happen by itself. Be interested in the interest of your spouse. Be interested. What are they interested in? Books. They're interested in books, then read with them. Ask them questions. Be interested. Many people just continue doing life as if they are single people living together. They do like if they're two single people living together. Intimacy is intentional. You must consciously be interested in the interest of a spouse. All right? Anything they're interested in, because that's how to be mentally and emotionally connected. Your wife likes shopping. You have to follow her shopping sometimes. Just follow her. Hold the bags for her. I do that once in a while. Oh, my wife touches me. She never gets tired. She will walk, and she's not really buying things for herself. She's buying for the kids most times. But once in a while, she buys for her things. And women can't decide. Should I take this one? Should I take this one? And we, small boy, I don't know. I don't know which one is good, which one is not good. I don't know. Because women think because they can help us that we too can help them. No. You know, we can ask a woman this shirt or this shirt. The woman will know to take that shirt. Whether women are like, they now ask us in this dress or this dress. I don't know. They are both good. I don't know. And I know she usually knows what she wants to do. So when you, if any advice you give her, you start to know say this one, she say no, I'll take this one. I say okay. Because I didn't even know one, I was guessing. I didn't even know. It was guesswork. So, but she would take me around the shops and buy, and I'll be tired. But she's a good girl. She would say, okay, don't worry, I'll buy you Starbucks. Or we'll go and buy it. She'll bribe me with something, you know. But she'll carry me around. I carry her big bags. You know, but I intentionally do that. I might not be naturally interested in shopping, but I understand that it's something she's interested in. Do you understand? You must show interest. Your wife likes shopping, you have to go with her. Sometimes, if she wants to, you know. Be interested in anything you can find that she's interested in. All right? It can go from serious things to fun things. But that doing something together is how to build intimacy. And trust me, when you hit the right level for intimacy, you will enjoy it. Many people, you know, have you ever experienced something that you thought you didn't like because you have never experienced it? And when you eventually experience it, you wonder, what was I doing? How come I didn't like this thing? That's how intimacy is sometimes. If you have never experienced it, you would think you are not losing anything. But when you achieve a certain height in intimacy, you will know that you don't want to go any level lower than this, that you want to keep building in your intimacy in your marriage. Because it's the most beautiful thing ever. It's the most powerful thing ever for couples, all right? So interest, be interested in whatever they're interested in, from movies, motorcycles, watches, anything they like, you know, bags. Start being interested. All right, let's move to the next thing. M. And I like this point a lot too. M. Manage your emotions. Manage your emotions. If you're going to build intimacy, you must be a master at managing your emotions. Listen, many people are still living by their feelings. One of the secrets of failures, or the secret of failure, is to only do things you feel like doing. I'll say that again. One of the secrets of failure is to only do things you feel like doing. You must master the art of separating how you feel from what you need to do. This is why some people fail in school and all that. They don't feel like reading, so they actually obey that feeling and don't read. I don't feel like going to class, and they actually obey that feeling, then they don't go to class. And the people that succeed, there are people that I don't feel like reading, but they read anyway. I don't feel like going to class, but they go anyway. Those are the people that succeed. The person that is failing is intentionally failing. He's just following his feelings. I don't feel like reading a book. I don't feel like furthering my education. I don't feel like saving. So they keep practicing things that bring failure. If you are going to succeed in anything, including marriage, you must master the art of separating your feelings from what is right and being able to do what you need to do in spite of how you feel. I have a series on YouTube that you can take advantage of. It's titled Emotions. Go and check it on my YouTube channel. I mean, I taught on emotions, you know, for some weeks. I did a series on it to bless you. So managing your emotions is crucial. You see, your emotions are real, but they are not always right. Your emotions are real, but they don't control you. You actually control them. But the height of irresponsibility is to claim that your emotions control you. It's a height of irresponsibility. You can't do that. Your life begins to go in the direction you want the day you begin to take responsibility for how you feel. Take responsibility for your emotions and say, I can do what I need to do. You are not a product of just your emotions. You can control it. They are real. I know your emotions are real, but I'm saying you have the capacity to do what you want to do. Like my mentor will always say, it's easier for you to act your way into feeling than to feel your way into acting. What does it mean? That if you keep doing what you need to do, eventually you feel like doing it. That don't wait to feel like doing it before you do it. You must manage your emotions. If you're going to build intimacy, you must manage. What am I saying? There are times you'll be hurt. There are times you'll be offended. There are times you'll be angry. There are times you will even feel like doing something nice to your spouse or for your spouse. There are times like that. There are times you will feel your husband is not behaving respectfully, so you shouldn't respect him. No. Still respect him. There are times your wife won't be lovable. Still love her. You must master the art of separating your emotions from what you need to do. Many people that live under their emotions are very weak people. because they can easily be manipulated and controlled. When Jesus was saying, if they slap you, don't turn the next cheek, that's what he was trying to say. He wasn't saying be a fool that they slap you up and down. That's not what he's saying. He's saying, look, don't let this person influence you to do something you wouldn't do. Don't let the person take control of your life, because the person, it's like people that write rubbish on Instagram and co. If you notice, they are trying to control other people. So they write something stupid, and you to now respond. They to now respond. You to get to say where you can ignore people. When somebody says something, you just ignore like you didn't say. Then you are in charge of your own emotions. You are in charge of your own reaction. So in marriage and in building intimacy is very crucial, because sometimes your husband or wife wants to feed off your negative energy, wants to behave in a bad way, and you are giving them the response they want. You're giving them fire for fire. Jesus Christ said, the Bible said that don't always reward evil with evil, always reward evil with good. When the Bible says soft answer turneth away wrath, it doesn't mean you will feel like giving that soft answer, but you know that giving that soft answer is the best thing to give. Check when two people want to fight. When two people fight, they both feed off each other. They both bounce off the negative energy or the aggression of each other. You say, I will slap you. You say, slap me. Check, that's what usually happens. I will slap you. Don't say, slap me. If somebody say, I will slap you, and you say, sorry, it's rare for them to still go ahead and slap you. Most times, they want to slap you, but the energy is not yet ripe. They need your cooperation. Say, I will slap you. You say, slap me. I will slap you. He says, slap me. He said, two. It's one more that I will slap. I'm not saying you slap anybody, of course. I'm just trying to say that most times people are bouncing off your own energy too. You have to cooperate with them. Try it anytime. I've tried it many times. Even though when you are in the heat of the moment, it's not easy because you want to react. But I've done it many times. I discovered that a lot of people that most times things we are fighting about is not what we are fighting about. Most times things we are fighting about is not what we are fighting about. We are just fighting about our other things that have happened that we've not been able to resolve. So you are still bouncing off that negative energy. Sometimes refuse to cooperate. When the person is misbehaving, do the total opposite of what they are expecting. Total opposite of it. Total opposite. Just apologize sometimes. Instead of arguing, just say, okay, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry that happened. The person will be shocked because as they're arguing, they already have 3 or 4 points they've kept in their pocket. That once you say no, they'll bring the next point. And you just quench the whole argument by saying sorry. They won't believe it. They will go wondering, they'll be arguing with themselves in their mind. That is so, the only thing they wanted to say, you didn't allow them. So, manage your emotions. You can't build intimacy if you're always angry. You're always responding in the spur of the moment. You believe that we must trash everything out today. You believe you must have your own way. If I don't have my way, I will grumble throughout today. If I don't have my way, I will shout throughout. You can't do that. If you're going to build intimacy, you must master the art of mastering your emotions. Managing your emotions. Sometimes your husband won't behave respectfully. Sometimes your wife won't be lovable. You see, sometimes being patient and being peaceful is not about being right. It's not about winning the argument. It's about being smart. So you have to learn that. You know what Jesus Christ said? They asked Jesus Christ why people divorce. And he gave a profound answer. He gave a profound answer. He said, it's because of the hardness of your heart. I thought he would say people divorce because of infidelity. People divorce because of carelessness. No. He said it's hardness of heart. He said the reason why they started divorce is because of your hardness of your heart. In other words, one or both parties refuse to change. One or both parties refuse to yield. One or both parties refuse to be mellow, refuse to chill. They want to have their way and they want to have it now. It's the hardness of your heart. You must master the art of managing your emotions, all right? Master the art. So learn to do things in spite of how you feel. All right? Learn to managing your emotions also involves positive side too. So your husband or wife is the emotional type. You must learn to show emotion. Because some of you might not be emotional at all. It's possible. All your life, you grew up, somebody like me. I had to learn, and I'm still learning. You know, I'm still learning. But I wasn't like this at all. I'm a total man's man, rugged boy, have always hung out with bad boys. We are 5 boys in my house. I'm the last born, no girl, 5 boys. And the only female in my house, which was my mother, was an ex-soldier. So she's like a boy. She's an ex-soldier that is not emotional. So you can imagine what we're talking about. So we're like 7 people, male in the house. She's very unemotional. So when I got married, I had to learn because my wife, she's melancholy and all that. So they're generally deep feelers. So I had to learn. Even now, she still yabs me that I'm not even good at it. Even though I think I'm good at it, I think I've improved. But she still yabs me that I'm not great. But I have to learn. So I have to learn to say I love you and mean it. And show that I mean it. You know, you can say I love you and you mean it, but you're not showing it. Hope you know that. People can say, I love you. And you're not showing it. But an emotional person will put emotion to it and will know the right time. There's the right time to say it. You will master the art of being emotional, being in touch with your emotions. You have to learn it. You have to learn how to call and just say, I just want to hear your voice. It won't see. You might not feel like, leave your feeling. That I'm teaching you now. Leave your feeling. Put on the work. Your feeling will join you later. When I first started dating my wife, if I drop her at home, we're supposed to see that we're still dating. Then if I drop her at home or she take her to the bus stop and she goes home, I won't call her again till next week. We're supposed to see next week Monday. I won't call her again. She'll tell me that no. Number one, you have to call to check if I've gotten home. I say, you told me you were going home. I believe you. She said, no, you have to call. That just shows you care. Okay, I didn't know that. Then she said, and you can't not call me throughout the week. That call me and check up on me. I said, no problem. Like I said, you must be intentional. As your partner is sharing their needs, pay attention because you might not know the needs. As they're sharing the needs, listen. So it's bad when your partner keeps telling you what their needs are and you don't respond. You just want to do what you want to do. Say, the way I want to love you is by sending you credit. And what the person wants for you to call them, but you say, I'll send you credit. You can't keep doing love your own way. You need to love your partner the way they will receive love. So she told me, you need to call me. I said, okay, no problem. So I will call. And when I call, I'll say, hey, I just say, I hail you. I'm a guy's guy. I had no intent, I had no clue about how to treat women. The average man is like that. He has never been taught. I just say, I hail you. She said, no, you can't hail me. I'm not one of your guys. So I have to learn that when you call a woman, you have to be, speak in a way that she can appreciate. Oh, how are you? I miss you. I'm just checking up on you. I just want to hear your voice. Things like that. For me, I was calling her like a guy. Hey, I just say, I hail you. What's up, G? Managing your emotions. Many people just say, that's not me. Stop saying that. There's nothing like you. You are an evolving person. You're a transforming person. You can be what you need to be per time. So stop saying this is not me. It's like I put a post on my Instagram one time where I was sharing that if you go to your in-laws' house, there's a way to behave. That's not the day to 12 to go and sleep in the same room. You're visiting your in-laws for the first time. Let them put you in a separate room or something like that. Behave like somebody that has home training. I put that in my video. Something like that, And one lady wrote there that her own, when she went there, she did. And they say, it's not pretending. I say, it's not pretending. It's like when you go for a job interview. Do you go as you are or you go as they want you to become? Do you say, this is how I am? I wear short knicker. This short knicker and slippers is how I am. It's from the gate. This gate, they will carry you up and show your Father in heaven. You won't make it inside that compound. If you go for a visa interview, do you go and say, this is how I am? Say, are you planning to return to your country? Say, no, I will escape. Once I reach here, I will escape. Are you going to say that there? Even if that's your intention. So the point is that you package yourself. You're going for a job interview, you're not going to dress. Those of you that watch movies or you follow trends in places like America, do you notice that no matter who you are, when you're going for a court case in America, you wear suit and tie? If you see a serious drug guy or a serious rapper that wears chain and singlet and all these things, tattoo, is going for court case, he wears suit and tie. Because the jury that are voting, that's the standard. The judge, that's the standard. Once you dress like a thug, before they even hear the case, they say, just lock him first. Let's be discussing to human beings first. So you must appear so you can change. It's only animals or whatever that can change. As human beings, we can evolve. So stop saying, this is how I am. I'm not romantic. Don't say that. This is how I am, me. I always say my mind. That's before. Now that you're married, if that's always saying your mind is causing, explosion in the family, then stop saying it like that. Rephrase your statement. Let me try and move. I have 2 more. 3 more. 2 more. Okay, good. 3 more. Okay. Next A. The next A there is advancement. Advancement. If you're going to build real intimacy, you have to be interested in your partner's advancement. I mean, be interested in your husband's or wife's advancement in life. You see, as we grow, most of us are a bit emotional about our dreams. We're all emotional about our dreams. So I've seen many couples that the wife doesn't know what the husband is doing and doesn't care. The husband doesn't know what the wife is doing and don't care. Do you know that work is one of the things that separates couples? Because the man is chasing this dream this way, the wife is chasing this dream this way, and they are not connected. One of the ways to cement your relationship is to be both interested in each other's dreams. Because for men especially, work is a soft spot for them. Work is a man's first love. So women always wonder why, oh, we're married now, he doesn't give me enough attention, everything is work, work, work. When he was going to marry you, you were the project. After he marries you, you are no longer the project, he has moved to another project. The best way to remain in his view is to now be interested in that other project too. Instead of you to be dragging with the job with him, be interested in his work. I see some men, you just realize that their wives are not interested at all in what they're doing. Not interested at all. The wife doesn't even know the dream. I mean, I've been close to some ladies in time past when I was still single. You know, people I thought, okay, let me get to know this person. You know, and one of the things that usually makes me disconnect from some people is that I'll be friends with somebody for weeks. Maybe we'll talk almost every day or every week, and the person has never asked me what I do. And I've asked the person everything about their lives. Those things are usually red flags for me to know that this person, I can't have anything else, but this person is just in love with themselves. And there are so many people like that are so selfish. They are in love with themselves. They are so in love with themselves that they don't even see another person. Life is all about them. Their world just revolves around them. They think the whole world is focusing on them. You must go out of your way. What are your partner's dreams? Some people don't even know their partner's dreams. One of the common questions we ask in our counseling class is that if your husband or wife gets 10 million naira or whatever, something like that, what would they do with the money? You should have both shared your dreams so much that if your partner gets any money, and usually if you are sharing real intimacy, usually that breakthrough will come one day. Have plans. It's part of how you agree mentally. It's part of how you have mental and emotional intimacy. Be interested in the advancement of your partner. What are their dreams? What are they trying to achieve? Agree with them in prayer. Give them advice. You see, when you know their dreams, even while you are doing your own thing, you might come across somebody or a certain information that might even help them in their own dreams. Many couples I see are not interested in the advancement of their spouse. People's progress is very important to them. Like I said, we are all responsive to people that are interested in our advancement. So love can be one-sided. This is for both sides. What are your dreams? Now, even if your partner is a housewife or house husband, they might still have dreams. So ask them, are there things you want to be doing? Are there something you want? You'll be amazed. Everybody has some kind of dream in their heart. Do you know you can be with somebody physically and not be with them emotionally? And you can be with someone emotionally and not be with them physically? It's possible. That's why the Bible said something in Hebrews chapter 10. It said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And if you look at it, it looks like they're saying the same thing, but they're not the same thing. He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. One is physical, the other one is emotional. I will never leave you. That means I'm going to be with you physically, but I will never also forsake you. That means I will also be with you emotionally. Because you can be with somebody physically and not be with them emotionally. You see, proximity doesn't always guarantee intimacy. So you can be with somebody physically and not really be with them emotionally. So two people can be living together and they're not even connected. They don't even know each other's dreams. You have to know their dreams. You have to be involved with their dreams. Help them scrutinize what they're doing. Help them read through their text, whatever it is they're doing. Read through it. Be really interested. This takes selflessness because the average human being is selfish. And this is why marriages don't work. Two selfish people together. You must really ask them from time to time, what are your dreams? What do you want to do? How can I help? Don't even wait to be told. Look for how you can help. People are very soft about their dreams. Anybody really interested in their own well-being, they open up to the person. So it's part of the ways you build your intimacy, advancement. Be interested in that person's, improvement, that person's, dreams. Very, very important. Don't fight their dream. Instead, be involved with their dreams. All right? T. The next T there in intimate is time. Time. I'm using the acronym for intimate, okay? Time. We cannot build intimacy without spending time. There's no two ways about it. The major thing that intimacy requires is actually an investment of time. You have to invest time. Time is actually the raw material we need to build intimacy. Time is the raw material we need to build intimacy. In other words, spending time together. You must invest time. You must be conscious about it. Spending time together. If you guys are not physically around each other, then you have to spend. Because there are people that are doing long-term relationship and say, I don't have time to call. You can't say that. You must be intentional about it. You must spend time. The thing about time is that so many things are calling for your time. Time is superior to money because you can save money. You can't save time. You can make money back when you lose it. You can't make time back. So time is a very precious resource. So you only create time for the things you love. You don't save time. You create time for the things you love. So you can't tell somebody, if you're in a long-distance relationship or long-distance marriage, and there are more specific times that we call. At this time, you have an appointment with your spouse, so nothing else should interrupt it. You call. And if something has to interrupt it, you reschedule that time, but you still have the time. Because time is what you use to build intimacy. Time is the raw material. And I know we live in a busy world. And that's one of the things that I enjoyed about the lockdown. Some of us were getting too busy for our own good. On the road all the time. So we're able to invest time in each other. Plan it. So plan date nights. Because that's the benefit. It gives you time. So because if you're always at home sometimes, things will distract you. So plan date nights. Go on dates. It's okay. Take your wife on date. Take your husband on date. Go on dates. Where only two of you will be. Send the children to grandma or somebody, one auntie or neighbor come and stay with the kids. Somebody you can trust, of course. But spend time. If not, you guys can drift apart. So you must be conscious about investing time. Quality time. Quality time. Shut down the phone once in a while and spend time. Watch a movie together. Just talk. You must not be addicted to your phone. Don't be addicted to television. Every once in a while, put off that TV, switch off that phone, and just talk. You might never have any topic because some men are very, rigid and structured. What are the 3 topics we will discuss so that when we finish, I can know? Just talk. There's nothing as beautiful as having time that is not limited. You just spend time together. Just talk about anything and everything. It can just be, how are you? How are you doing? How have you been? When last did you ask your wife that? Or your husband that? Busy. You need to create time. Time is that resource that builds intimacy. Not matter of fact discussion every time. I'm calling you because of the kids. Junior is still stubborn. Can you talk to him? And Vanessa is not called. No. Sometimes just talk for no reason. Okay? Very important. Plan the time. Me and my wife used to have something we used to do when we come back from church or from work or whatever sometimes, and we let other people go into the house and both of us stay in the car for an extra 30 minutes or something, and we catch up in each other's day and we talk. Because once we enter the house, normally life will just happen. I'm either watching TV, she has to go cook, she has to prepare the kids for school, I'm doing something. So sometimes we just stay in the car like that. It's a small space, nothing distracts us, and no phone there to distract us either. We're not holding phones, and we just talk, catch up in each other's day. It might be 30 minutes sometimes, it might be less, but it just gives us some time to connect. Because time is the raw material that we use to build intimacy. Quality time is not even just about watching TV together, even though that's a good thing to do, but that's not what you do all the time. Sometimes quality time is that you're just talking to your partner about anything. Their childhood, their future, their fears, their worries. Just talk. Just talk. Just talk. All right? So plan those times. Take a walk together and spend quality time together. Times that your phones are shut off or the TV is shut off or any other distraction. Kids are not there. All right? And just invest in each other. There's some people that spend more time with their kids than they spend with each other. Trust me, if you love your kids, what you should do for them is to love their mother or their father. Not loving them. They will learn love by seeing you love each other. So not neglecting your spouse and say you love. I see that all the time. 2 people that can't marry themselves and they're fighting for their child. Love each other. That's the best way to fight for that child. Treat your husband well. Treat your wife well. That's the way to love that child. Okay? Then the last thing. The last E, it stands for exclusivity. Intimacy can be built when it is shared or common. What does this mean? You can't have more than one woman in your life you can't have more than one man in your life, then that is not intimacy. That is not intimacy. All right? That is not intimacy. For it to be intimacy, it is one person, one man, one woman. All right? If you are having a physical affair or an emotional affair, because there are two different types, then intimacy can't be built. And that is why when couples go through infidelity, it's a big strain on the intimacy, and usually you will need to talk to a proper intimacy recovery counselor. It's not everybody that can counsel such things, or you need to go through some counseling because to help you navigate that. You don't just think we'll cover it. So some people just say we'll cover it, and they discover that they never can go past it because they never addressed it properly. For it to be, intimacy, it has to be exclusive. All right, that means you have to be. You can't share your affection. It can't be shared. It can't be common. It has to be to one person. Exclusivity. So you have to have certain boundaries that only your spouse can enjoy. Certain boundaries. You can't be sharing intimate secrets with somebody outside your house or your family. Secrets that your spouse doesn't know. You can't be sharing your dreams with somebody else when you have not shared with your spouse. For it to be real intimacy, there has to be exclusivity. All right? Love is an exclusive thing. When people say I'm in love with two women, that's not love. Because the very nature of love shows commitment, shows faithfulness. So when you don't have that, then it can't be love. So you can't share. You can't share. And some people wonder why their affection for their spouse is dying. Is because there's somebody else in the picture. It's one of the first questions I'll ask you. If you say, I don't love my husband, I don't love my wife, I'll ask you, is there somebody else? Because if there's somebody else in the picture, that's why it's called adultery. You are adulterating the love. So it can never taste like it. It's like pouring water in Coke. There's an extent you pour it, the Coke won't taste like Coke again. Neither will it taste like water. It'll just be an awkward taste. And that's what many people do to themselves. You can't share it. Once you are enjoying a level of closeness and intimacy emotionally or physically in terms of sexually with somebody else, it's affecting your marriage already. And you need to get it out of the way. All right. So it must be exclusive. One man, one woman, total trust. And trust me, the love in your marriage can come back again if you can put some of these things to work. It can come back. You can build it again. There is no marriage beyond repair. There's no marriage beyond building intimacy. Every marriage can be repaired. Every marriage can be restored if you are not hardened in your heart. Jesus Christ says hardness of heart. If you are willing to adjust and learn, you can navigate any crisis and start growing in intimacy again. You can start putting wood again in your fire, and the fire will come back to life. All right. I believe this was helpful. Thank you